As an empath, how do you navigate the big emotions that the people in your life bring to you? As an empath myself, I understand that I'm sure you have the same experience where people will gravitate towards you and people will share their problems with you. And that might be your spouse or your children or your best friend, but it might also be your co-worker, someone sat on the bus, someone in the queue of the shop. As an empath, we attract this energy towards us because people feel the nurturing, caregiving energy that we're putting out as a beacon. And that's a beautiful thing and not something that you should try to get away from. But it is something that you can learn to navigate in a way that gives you much more control, but more importantly, helps you to serve other people in a more whole way. The first thing we need to do when somebody brings their big emotions to us is run through what can we and can't we give at that present moment. So if that's your child and you're cooking dinner, it is absolutely encouraged to know within yourself what you can give. And if you feel like this situation that is being brought to you is something that you would deal with far better when you're not multitasking, it's important to be able to say things like, I see that you're really sad about this situation. Please, can we come back to this in an hour when I can sit with you and I can give you my full presence? Or if it's your coworker coming to you, it's very important to be able to say, I see that this is a difficult situation for you and I want to be present for you, but can we come back to this and schedule a time? Because right now I'm in the middle of admin, emails, a meeting, whatever it is. It is okay to put your needs first. It's not even just okay to put your needs first, it's vital. Because what we often don't understand as empaths is that taking care of ourselves is the number one job of an empath. You don't take care of yourself, you cannot fully take care of other people. People feel like taking care of yourself first is selfish, but it's really not. It is the most selfless thing you can do because if you take care of yourself, there is more of you to give, and you'll be able to be more present and more helpful when you do decide that you can give that energy. One of the first things that you can ask of the situation is, what does this person need? And it might be a thought process or it might be direct communication, because something else that we run into, that I often run into, I don't know if you do, something I often run into is that assumption that I know what that person needs. So I will immediately do some calculations and I will see their pain and I will think, okay, they need X, Y, and Z, and I must give that to them right now. And this is what we don't want to be doing. So we don't want to be making assumptions, and we want to be giving our time and energy at a time when it feels good for us to be doing that. So when you ask, what does someone need, whether you ask them or you think it, it gives you a pause, it gives you time to collect yourself and actually come at it from an informed point of view. Sometimes the people bringing these problems or emotional issues to us, they might just want to be heard. They might want help with a solution. They might want just some time and space to voice what it is that they're feeling. They might want advice. And unless you ask that question, either by pausing and analyzing the situation or asking them, you're just guessing. And if you get it wrong, it could be that you're using your energy in the wrong way, in the wrong time, in the wrong manner. And then you're using energy for no reason. It's really important when someone that you care about, which could be family or it could be a stranger, depending on your level of compassion, when they bring you big emotions, it's very important that when you experience your own emotional reaction to that, you take a minute, because what you don't want is to have the big emotions of the person that's coming to you and your own big emotions and have that come into some kind of an emotional whirlwind that just derails the whole situation. By allowing that to happen, you are not doing your best to actually be empathetic towards that other person. Problems people come up with very often, especially as empaths, because we're so sensitive, right? We feel the emotions of other people, we feel the energy of a room change. And something that occurs regularly is denial of emotions. And that happens in lots of different forms. The number one thing that most of us do in some way at some time is suppressing our emotions. And you'd be surprised at the ways that come out. Alcohol is an anesthetic. So we use that very often, we meaning us as a society, to distract us from our big emotions. Smoking weed, even prescription medication, also binge watching TV is an absolute anesthetic. It's a number for your mind. And I'm not saying that I never do this. I do this regularly and I'm aware that I do this. And for me, it's something that I dip into when I am feeling overwhelmed. I will sit and watch TV and use that as a way to remove myself from the emotional connection I have to all of the things happening in life. And I'm not saying any of these things are wrong. I'm not demonizing them. I'm not judging. I'm just saying it's very important to be aware if you are doing that, if you are using these things to distract yourself from emotions rather than acknowledging them and dealing with them. Another thing that is so common in 2024 is forced fake positivity. And this is very damaging. If somebody comes to you with big emotions that they're experiencing and you tell them everything is okay, you are completely devaluing their emotional experience. And that is not empathetic. It's a lovely way to depersonalize the situation. And most of the time, when people do this, they don't do it with the intention of anything other than good. But actually, when we sit and look at it, fake positivity can be very damaging. Life is not always great. Life doesn't always feel great. And it's okay that life doesn't always feel great because we're here having a human experience where we have this huge range of emotions and reactions to life. And when somebody is bringing big emotions to you, it's really important that you don't dismiss that. Another thing that is very common is compartmentalizing and ignoring the problem. So someone comes to you with a big emotion, what happens is you instantly have an emotional reaction to it. But instead of experiencing that emotion that you're having, you compartmentalize it, put it away, which is actually a positive technique in some very specific situations. But where the damage is done is where you do that regularly and you don't get that back out again. So if you are compartmentalizing your feelings and then ignoring them, effectively putting them in a dusty old cupboard in your mind, then that's not going to solve any problems. And you are going to be left with ongoing anxiety and depression and not even be sure why, because your amygdala will be getting so overactive with all this stuff that you're storing and not dealing with. This is something that's really common in people with ADHD because we have big reactions to things. We have big emotional reactions to things. And I see this very often in other people with ADHD where they switch it off immediately. I don't like the way that feels, therefore I'm not going to feel it, which is okay if you are dealing with something and you need to work or you need to take care of your child and you need to function and this big emotion is going to stop you from doing that, then compartmentalizing it and putting it to one side is fine. It's healthy. If you then set aside time to unpack it, bring it out, experience the emotion, and work through it. In fact, all of these things can be healthy done once in a while, but the problem is when you end up doing this all of the time, therefore you are not dealing with your emotional reactions to things. It's really important to own your emotional state, but don't be defined by it. So someone brings something to you, maybe your child comes to you and they tell you that they are extremely sad about something or they're really worried. And as a parent, you have an immediate knee-jerk reaction. You want to protect them. You want to solve everything for them. But it may be that that's not what they need, which brings us back to having a think or asking what they need. But we can also get trapped in this state of absolute statements. Now, our thoughts and the words we say, linguistics, are so important. It will change your life thinking about the way you phrase things in your mind or to other people. So when you say things like, I am angry, I am sad, I am devastated, I am excited. I am giddy with happiness. What you are doing is identifying yourself entirely and wholly as that. So when you say, I am angry, you're not allowing yourself to identify with anything else. And we are never just one thing. You're never just angry. You're never just sad. The language we use is vital for our mental and emotional health and for our communication with other people. When you say or think things like, I notice I'm feeling angry about that situation, what you're doing is you're giving credit to the emotional reaction you're having, but you're also allowing room within that statement to understand and identify with the fact that that is not all you are. It is a facet of what you're experiencing at that given time, and that's it, and that's okay. Emotions are transient. Emotions come and go the same way thoughts come and go, and we are not our thoughts, and we are not our emotions. Our emotions change even based on the exact same situation, depending on our perspective. Think about a situation where I'm just mad about this situation. And then you have a conversation and some more information comes to light, and you realize that actually perhaps you took something in the wrong way, or with more information, it feels different. Your perspective has changed and your emotions change at the same time. That is because emotions are not a static thing. Emotions are not absolute. Emotions come and go. You are not your emotions. You are not your thoughts. And when you give yourself that little bit of separation from the thoughts you have, from the emotions you have, from the emotional reactions you have, you give yourself the chance to be present and not reactive. It is completely possible to master your emotions and not be ruled by them. If you're an empath or you have ADHD, or for any other reason you experience big emotions, especially when other people are bringing things to you, I'd love to know how you deal with it. What do you use? What techniques do you use? What things have you learned about that have helped you in your journey? It would mean so much to me if you could hit like if this was helpful to you, hit subscribe on the channel, and come back for more content. As always, guys, have the best day.